This is Joe's Corner 76. We will be discussing the human condition. In order to change it, we have to be involved. Let me first state that I am a boomer and have to ask, what's going on? Looking at the state of the country and the difference in wealth between boomers and those under age 65 is a real problem for Canada. 1 in 5 Canadians are now 65 or older, and they are boomers. In 2025, Mike Moffat, an economist looking at the figures from 2023, said that for the first time, Canadian males 65 and older had higher incomes than those aged 25 to 35. The average Canadian male aged 65 or older was pulling down $61,600. Well, the Canadian male in some of his prime working years could only expect just $61,200. A disparity like this has never happened before. This data shows the political reality dividing the country right now. On one side, we have a group of young people hemorrhaging wealth, hope, and life satisfaction. On the other hand, there are a growing number of seniors who are rich, happy, and satisfied, with some more than ever before. They are satisfied with the status quo, and they voted for the party that gave them the impression that this would continue. The majority of these voted Liberal, and that's how they won a minority. So when we look at over 1 in 5 Canadians over age 65, and the numbers will grow, it's really too bad that statistics show for men over age 65 higher incomes than those 25 to 35. No, when these old men had been young, they had income double the seniors. Putting these facts together, it shows the singular political reality dividing Canada right now. We have a cohort of young people who are losing health, hope, and life satisfaction, while seniors are richer and happier and satisfied. Some even more than before. We have seen out-migration at highs not seen since the 1960s. This loss has been really noticeable, particularly among young entrepreneurs. There are 100,000 fewer than 20 years ago. For the first time, half of Canadians heading up a successful startup are doing so in the US instead of their own country. This is a loss of potential employment that could have created maybe another Spotify that we could be missing out on. Canada is suffering steady declines in productivity and the delivery of government services. Young Canadians are at the sharp end of this impact. Unemployment among those aged 15 to 24 is 14.1%. Among workers over age 65, unemployment is at 4.9%, far lower than the average of 6.7%. Last month, the Angus Reid survey found that Canadians, for the delivery of healthcare, these things, the numbers showed a pattern of older Canadians having easier access to specialists or family doctors than younger Canadians. For Canadians over 55, 88% had a family doctor, against 75% of those under age 35. Looking at the housing, seniors have benefited from the housing boom. The inflation-adjusted price of a house in 1960 was about $260,000. The benchmark price right now is $661,100. So, for the mere act of owning a home for the last 36 years, it has yielded roughly $11,000 equity per year. On the other side of the boom, whole groups of young people have been priced out of a market they could have easily gotten into in an earlier era. In February, Abacus data found that Canadians under 30 were not in the real estate market, that 92% of them did dream of owning a home one day, but of these, 61% were skeptical it would ever happen. A 2025 Ipsos poll found 90% Generation Z say home ownership is only for the rich. Young Canadians are starting to rethink the mere aspect of having families. A 2023 survey by Statistics Canada found that among Canadians under age 30, 38% were holding off having a child because they thought they couldn't afford one. The same year, a poll commissioned by the Christian think tank RICHEST found that childbearing was increasingly being treated as a luxury pursuit. Childbearing in Canada is becoming associated with wealth more than it is in other countries. Poor Canadian women don't want, don't intend, and aren't having many children. This could be a driver of zero population in Canada. What does this mean for the political landscape? Rarely have a majority of young people backed a conservative position. It's never been at a rate that was higher than seniors. Here we have, for the first time, the average young person voting to return to a version of Canada from the past. Well, the average senior has voted to endorse the status quo. They want to hang on to their positions. The fact is that with the majority of seniors voting around Mark Carney, his grip on power is largely due to over age 65 voters. A January Abacus poll found that if only under age 65 voted in the next general election, it would be an easy conservative victory. If seniors voted only, Carney would win in a landslide in Canada. A February poll by Angus Reid found many of the supporters in the Liberal think tank were women over age 55. A blowout of 57% of these would re-elect Carney's government, which is a rate 15% higher than women under age 34. What would this mean? Is this one of the first signs of intergenerational frustration showing up in the political arena? There have been growing calls to at least stop treating seniors as a vulnerable class deserving special treatment. It has now been more than a decade now since seniors, Canadians, have been ranked as the country's wealthiest groups. In 2014, Maclean's magazine published a story that argued that seniors were the most prosperous generation in Canadian history. As of the most recent statistics from Statistics Canada, 60% of Canadians over age 65 were lower income compared to 11.1% of other Canadians. Canadian society remains with benefits and discounts that are a legacy of when retirement corresponded with poverty. This discrepancy is polarizing the country. Last week, the group Generation Squeezed, they renewed the proposal to dial back old age security, arguing it's largely a function as a way for the government to distribute government checks to some of the Canadians that least need it. They proposed to stop old age security checks for senior households already earning $100,000 per year. This would save $7 billion per year. On this issue, at least all Canadians seem to agree with research showing 73% of Canadians and 75% of retirees endorsing the clawback. The younger generation want at least some of what we had: affordable housing, the ability to raise children, and an income to provide a decent life. The older seniors who want to keep everything they have will have to change, or should change. All boomers need to vote for change that will force the government to create the climate where private enterprise will invest, build the pipelines and infrastructure, and fund the research and development to make Canada again a prosperous country. All you boomers, give up the things you don't need and vote to give our children and grandchildren at least most of the life we had. Boomers, do you care more about and want to keep your I'm all right Jack attitude, or vote for change? You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Joe's Corner 76. You can hear me on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify at Joe's Corner 76. Please hit the subscribe button for my YouTube channel at Joe's Corner 76.